We're live.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, Christina, Dan.
Hey, everybody.
Good morning.
Want to call to order the meeting of the Village of Marvin Parks, Recreation, and Greenways Board here on March 2nd at 9:05 a.m. Christina, can you guys hear us well? All right. First item on the agenda is to determine a quorum, and with myself, Bob, Christina, and Dan, we do have a quorum, as well as we have Kimberly here as our council liaison. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. I do have a couple of requested changes. But are there any other changes anybody has to request? Christina or Dan? Okay. The changes that they have requested is to add new business number 6, which is a discussion of the community cleanup event. Number 7 under new business would be to add park sign and competition naming. And then number 8 would be to adopt a road update. So do I hear a motion on the table to add those items as they've just been presented to the agenda?
So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes of 2/2/21. These were sent out previously in our packet. Does anyone have any questions or edits that they would want to request from those meeting minutes? All right. Do I hear a motion on the table to adopt the 2/2/21 minutes as they are written?
So moved.
I need a second.
Second? Second. All in favor say aye. Aye?
Aye.
All right. The next item on the agenda is public comment period. I don't see anybody that signed up here in person, but is there anybody online that's requesting to speak as a part of public comment? All right. Moving on then to the public facilities manager's update. I understand that Derek is not available today.
He left me something to read.
Austin's gonna share a little bit of information from Derek.
So Derek wanted me to say that the volunteer work day was a huge success. They had a big group from a local church come and work in the community gardens to prepare the beds. They had a few residents and community garden members show up as well. The group was large enough to split up to help Christina in the front garden spreading mulch, and that you guys may want to set up another one of these days in the future.
Yeah.
And then he said Christina would have something else to add.
Yeah, just same thing. It was probably 20, maybe even, well, John, you were there, maybe even 30 people.
Yeah.
It was amazing, and they all just moved and worked. It was amazing. So we split up in the community garden and in the front. We mulched both of the berms with mulch left over. We cut down the grass, we cut down the lantana, so all of that looks great. We've still got some work to do, and these guys, it's Redeemer Church in Weddington, and they also want to have a plot in the community garden, so I think they're going to stay involved a little bit more than they have in the past. So I'm going to work with them to get a plot in the garden. They want to grow stuff and give it away, so that's an awesome thing too to have. We also took down some of the beds in the community garden, so that we can make another entrance and be able to get bigger trucks in there to offload soil and mulch and things. And took down some of the beds that were really, really grassy. And we're gonna rebuild one in the back and maybe flowers or something back there. So we're working on some things, and the garden looks better than, I've ever seen it, which is not really saying much, because I haven't seen it that many times. But it was a great, great success, and I do hope we do it again. Maybe even monthly would be really nice to just have a standing date for the community, so they know that's where we are and that's what we're doing.
The last one was the third Saturday of the month. You guys can keep doing that.
That's what I was gonna say. Do you guys just want to go ahead and start advertising it and just?
I think that would.
Do we need to do it monthly?
Yeah, one thing I would say, I don't know how many people showed up that weren't with the church group.
Okay.
Not
And,
many.
yeah, now I will say too, those people humped for the whole time. I don't know how many of them knew what they were signing up for.
Yeah, but they had the proper shoes on.
Yeah.
They had the proper clothing, because we were really careful with them, because the site is super muddy.
Yeah.
And we were just, you, John, were the only person there with white tennis shoes on, and they were old, so it was cool.
Those are my barn sneakers.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that even if we start maybe trying to focus on groups like that and say, you're looking for a volunteer day for your church or Girl Scouts or whatever, but having grown adults, and especially, but a bunch of guys, there were about 50, well, it was more guys than women, I think. They moved they were moving heavy loads of wet soil. It was not the best job in the world.
Christina,
I can't believe they showed up.
instead of monthly, could we do it bi-monthly?
Yeah.
I just think it'd be difficult on an ongoing basis to get the number of people you might like to have monthly, but I think if we were to do it bi-monthly, it wouldn't put so much demand on our labor force, because I think it'll be the same people coming each time.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Are you okay with that?
The only problem is, as you know, gardening is not really, it is seasonal, it's not a steady state, and so we probably need more help in the spring and early summer than we did later in the fall.
Right.
Because you're in maintenance mode come June, July, August, and then you're in survival mode come August.
Right.
So, I don't know, I'm probably gonna be out there, one way or the other, way more than monthly.
Okay.
So, we'll figure it out. Let's think about that. And I guess it just depends on if there's a group of people that want to help. Because I'm not going to turn anybody away. If a group says, "Hey, we want to do this," because Redeemer Church has gone and spread the word, if you will, how appropriately, then and they want to show up on the 11th of whatever, I'll be there.
I also think one of the things that Derek mentioned to me is they're a group that regularly uses the park and does rentals.
Exactly.
And I think he kind of worked it out in exchange for one of their barn rentals. They publicized it and had them all come out, and it was well worth it for sure, So maybe that's just something we impress on Derek to talk to some of the other groups that might do it regularly, that use it to say, hey, you get your folks show up here on a Saturday morning, we'll give you a free, pass for, your group.
That's a good idea.
At one time or something.
I'm glad you said that, because I think that was highly
That's a good
motivational, and everybody wins on that one. And as long as everybody at the village is happy with us doing that, I know there's several groups. I was there the other day, and some workout group was running around. They're definitely looking for dirt,
Yeah, and in Derek's absence, also, even with all the rain, everything, the trails, park looks great. They're really doing a good job
Good.
keeping and maintaining it.
That's
too.
great.
So when do you guys think you'd want to have another one of these? May?
Yeah, I think we want to have time to publicize. I would say maybe April, the middle of April. I know we've got, I think April 20th around there is normally when people celebrate Earth Day. I know in the past, we used to kind of target that as a time to try to get volunteers to the park when they're kind of thinking about that. So maybe if we figure out,
Saturday, April 17th?
yeah, that sounds good, Does that sound good, Christina?
I'm just not, who knows what things will look like or what will need to be done, but we'll find something to do.
Just put that down as a tentative date?
Yeah, but for the next one, I think we can, that gives us a little time to kind of figure figure some things out and it'll still be before, things
Yeah,
really
Derek
start
and I
going
were working on a couple of projects with the path in the cottage garden and that drainage issue that kind of cuts across the front of the cottage garden when you're walking in. It's not going to go away by itself, so we were talking about a couple pretty simple things to fix that. French drain. It's always a French drain.
Yeah, and one of the things that I did notice is that the main culverts that are kind of at the driveways for the parking lot and also for the barn, but where they feed kind of under the driveway out into that low area, they're almost half or 3/4 filled with silt at this point. So, I don't know how that normally gets addressed, but at some point, if we don't do something about it, I think they could end up filling completely with silt, and we may end up with some worse problems than if we think to address it now. I meant to mention it to Derek, but
I made a note of it.
I didn't get a chance to. So we just want to keep a look at that. I noticed that when I was looking around, I took some pictures too. And I do have some pictures that I took at the event. I'll share if we want to publicize.
Yeah, I have a couple too. I'll send you. Nothing great.
We would love that for the website.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan, anybody else, any further discussion on that? Okay, is there anything else from Derek's update?
That's all for the work day. I got stuff for other items, but.
All right. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business items. Number 1 is update on a joint meeting with council.
So based off the doodle poll that you all answered, the best date for the joint meeting with council is Tuesday, March 23rd at 9 a.m. We'll get that meeting notice out in the next few weeks, and I'll need our chairman to sign it whenever it's ready.
Okay.
It's definitely not ready yet. So that's all for that. I just want to make sure you all are aware of that date. Then you can put it in your calendars. I think I already sent out a calendar invite.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. Any further questions on that? Everybody good? All right. The next item in unfinished business is number 2, discussion of statement of economic interest and code of ethics forms.
Okay, this is your monthly reminder to get your forms into me. Bob's off my list.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Did I send it?
No, not yet. I don't think you have. I'll double check my list.
Okay.
But basically, these are due in April. I'm going to give council another update on these at the end of March, after which you may get contacted. So just get them into me when you can with the statement of economic interest form, like it says in that memo in your packet, that if nothing's changed since last year, you only need to return the last page to me, sign, and just simply write no changes since last year. That's all for that.
Any questions, Dan? Christina? Okay. Next item on the agenda is the Greenway flooding update.
We're speaking a lot today. Derek says that Councilman Wortman has went out to look at the site where the flooding is on the Greenway. He went out this past weekend. He's going to provide some feedback, some information that'll be good to relay to McConnell Grading, who we're looking to raise the actual Greenway to address the flooding issue. Until I'm actually raising it, extra paving.
Well, when we say raising it, that one is paved, or
yeah.
So, does that mean basically just kind of eliminating that pavement and?
I think they're talking about going in and adding
Or do they just mean
asphalt.
raising around the side of it?
No, they're
Raising the pavement.
They're talking
So
about
redoing the asphalt.
redoing it. They were talking about putting pipes underneath it to try to get some of that water out of there, but literally just adding layers of asphalt
Okay.
on top of what's already there. Is how I understood it from our work session last week.
Okay.
So if I could, I went out and surveyed it this weekend, and the real problem is that the ditch does not is not graded properly. So I don't think we should spend the money on raising this up if we're not fixing the real problem, which is the water comes in from the other side of the road. And if we would just get the ditch graded properly, I think we have our problem fixed.
Be a lot less expensive, would it not?
And
Has the engineer looked at the grading of the ditch? Like, I surveyed it with a laser level this weekend because I was annoyed by the flooding.
Dan, is the ditch that's by the road,
Yes.
that's DOT's ditch?
Yeah, it's not even, we don't even have to pay it for it. I don't think they would have to do it, right?
Yeah, well, good luck getting DOT to do anything at this point. We're going round and round with them on a number of issues, and we cannot go out and fix their ditch. And I can almost guarantee that they're not gonna go out there and do diddly squat to that ditch at this point.
And I
I mean, if we're gonna spend $30,000 on raising this up, and it doesn't even actually fix the problem. There's a real problem for the folks in Marvin Creek too. So it floods it's lower where they are, and so it floods their backyards as well. So it's not just the Greenway that has a problem. So we should fix the drainage problem.
I don't disagree with that, but I don't know that we can get DOT to do anything.
What would be the pun? Hey, Dan, I mean, this is not a stupid question, but an informed question. What's the probability of DOT approving us getting someone to grade it on our own and do that? So they're not involved. All they're doing is giving us a permission to fix it. Will they allow
An
that?
encroachment agreement, good luck.
Okay.
well,
It's
It's
not
about
zero,
zero.
but it is, again, it's not our issue, it is our issue because it's on the Greenway, but it is their ditch and we are continuously fixing DOT's problems.
Yeah.
And it is not a small feat, to try to get them to do anything, and they're just not doing anything to help us right now.
now, am I incorrect though? But I thought, when we kind of addressed this after they kind of first did the ditch, I had thought at that time that they seemed more amenable to coming in and correcting it.
How long ago was that?
That's 6 months ago.
So part of the problem, what they found out is, if you know the house, it's on the opposite side of the street that has the big trucks, like
Right.
the big, they've got a cross pipe that comes from their side over to the Greenway, which is causing part of the problem that they put in.
So they put that in on the other
So
side,
everything-
ran a pipe under the road, and now everything's draining from. Yeah, we've got another similar issue kind of going on over near the front of our neighborhood too.
And so we're getting complaints from residents that we're not doing anything. The only thing that Marvin's doing is trying to pass the buck, and we don't really care about the safety of our citizens and all this stuff. So we're trying to fix this. Dan, I don't disagree with you. I was 100%, we are not spending money if it is not truly fixing it. And all of council agrees on that. So we're not going to just do a Band-Aid. We're going to fix it. So whatever that entails, we're going to do it. So
there's two ways to fix the problem. The first one, and raising it, neither of them are raising the level of that. I mean, that addresses the issue with the Greenway, but it doesn't actually fix the drainage problem. So the first one is to grade the ditch, which is I get the technical issues with dealing with the DOT, but that's very easy and cheap. The second one is there is already a ditch that I think was filled in by the developer a long time ago when it was built. I walked through the brush there and found it, and it's at a lower elevation than where the pond sits inside where the issue is. And half that ditch is still there. And if you walk back, if you go up the ditch from Joe Kerr Road and walk up it, you can see on your right, as you get to the trees, there's a ditch through those trees already that exists. And if you follow that back, there's about a 20-foot section of trees where that ditch, which is lower than where the water is, doesn't connect to where the water is.
yeah.
So the other way is to bring it from where the pond area is now through that ditch to get back to the road ditch that's lower, further down. So we can also drain that area without a ton of extra, a ridiculous amount of work, ditch digging. It's about 20 feet or so.
Hey,
Did-
to start to connect those areas.
Is that on a particular resident's land, or is it in some common area?
that's what I got, that's one
No,
thing.
it's right.
No, it's within about, it's in the sewer right away, number one, but it's within because there's a sewer.
The sewer easement?
So we're gonna have to.
Yeah, but it's right next to the road. It's within about 20, 30 feet of the road, maybe 50 feet.
Dan, have you talked to Andy Wortman about any of this? Because he was out there this weekend working on it as well, trying to get some information for our engineers.
I don't know who that is.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay. He's on council. Let me get you guys together because you guys are both, I mean, you're out there looking at it, he's out there looking at it. This is kind of one thing that he's, very good at. He used to be on Park Rec and Greenway, but he's on the board now. So can he call you? Can I give him your contact information?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if DOT is not responding too, they're flooding residents' properties right now.
Yeah,
And
I
so
know.
that should get some attention.
Well, they're also flooding the village's property, and they're not going to do anything about that either. So we got that going on too. My other question over for that area is on both sides of the Greenway. Is that Marvin property? Is that Marvin Creek property? Whose property is that? Because we can't just go on people's property and start
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
doing stuff.
Where specifically are you asking about again?
It's right on the road.
It's on the road. It's within anything you would want to do is within 30 feet or 50 feet of
But it's not
the
gonna be
road.
Marvin's.
It runs along, it's an easement. but-
Yeah,
Yeah.
but on the roadside. Dan, on the
You
back
pulling it up
side,
real
on the
good?
Marvin Creek side, where is it?
It's not you don't need to do anything that's not within 50 feet of the road anywhere.
Yeah, Rohit's gonna call it up in a second and we might be able to identify it.
Can you, Rohit, I sent you guys a survey that I did, you and Derek. Do you want to bring that up?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the property ownership of it first.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
Do you
us.
have Dan's contact information? Can you send it to me so I can get that? Thank you. Or somebody can text it to me.
Yeah.
I'll send it to Andy. Hi, Julie.
That's us.
I'm not.
Can you see it, Dan?
Are you sending it, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a parcel that we own. We outright own it. It's not an easement.
The whole thing?
Yeah,
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Okay.
see, Village of Marvin.
But where am I-
Can
where am I
Dan
looking?
confirm that's where he's thinking?
Yeah, that's the trail area between.
But what's on either, that's the trail, but this,
That
yeah,
would probably be
Common area.
Yeah,
for Marvin Creek.
right.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Dan, can you identify on there where it is that you're talking about?
If you go, so Rohit, I don't know if you have, so it's in the red box right now that you have.
Okay, so it is in the
that red
red.
box that you need to do, when you would need to do. Except for the road
Hey,
grading, which you
Christina!
want to start
Hey.
grading further south.
Hey, you might want to come sit on this discussion for a minute.
Okay. Dan wants DOT to do a bunch of work for us.
50 feet of the ditch goes up instead of down, and it's not that hard.
No, it's not, but.
What
Yeah.
is it?
So we're talking about the Greenway flooding right now.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
So DOT is actually going out today to look at that area to see if they can find any fault. But I did have a very in-depth conversation with them yesterday about something completely separate but very related to the same premise.
It's
And
the village property we've already
Yeah.
brought it
Oh,
up
okay,
in this
okay.
meeting too.
and they're pretty much saying that they don't have any fault. So I don't expect anything different from them.
And understanding, it's one thing if they say they don't have any fault and so they don't want to invest any time, resources in it. It's another thing to say they don't have any fault, but if you want to do something with it, then we'll allow you to. Because doing something, as Dan is laying out, could be far less expensive to do it that way. And what I imagine that would be is just, essentially us to say, this is what we plan to do, will you bless this?
And
You
they
know, Is there a process for that that's
There is.
workable?
There is a process for that, and it's called an encroachment agreement with them, and it's a little bit complicated, especially when you're dealing with water issues, as we talked about yesterday with their district engineer or division engineer. He would likely require us to get hydraulic studies and all that stuff made before they approve an encroachment agreement.
Hey, I apologize. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do what I just did, but I wanted to show you guys
Oh, yeah.
what.
Go ahead. Thanks for pulling that up. I was
Yeah.
a little slow on doing that.
So here's where the water comes across from the other properties. This is the school, and this is downstream. And I think the red box starts right here, something like that. We saw on what we own. The water comes here, and it's all flat right in here. And then it goes vertically 6 inches, so there's a big pool of water here, and it all floods into this area.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ditch crowns up here, and then starts to be, it's already lower at this point, once you get, not too far down, and it continues to drop from there. So it actually falls well here. We don't need anything. We have about 70 feet where we need this to be actually graded so water goes downhill instead of uphill. And then it'll fall all drains this way,
You're like,
and our problem is solved.
Andy went out there yesterday.
I know, I just sent Dan Andy's contact
Oh, okay.
information so they could talk and try to be collaborative on this solution.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of our council members went out yesterday, and he's a landscape. Does he know Andy?
He
but
doesn't
I
know,
just
he's
told
already
him.
discussed that,
Um,
yeah.
And he shot some grades with one of his friends, and they have a potential solution that he thinks may work. And I would just talk to him because
Yeah, I think it's important at this point before we start going down either road, have Dan and Andy kind of just meet and discuss their two different approaches to it. It sounds like DOT is kind of hands off to begin with, but I think we have to be careful with the expense if we're not solving the root of the real problem, because what money we may put into it could still becoming an issue, and as Dan's mentioning, it's not just the Greenway, but it's other residents kind of being affected by that situation as well. So to the extent that we can kind of see what the best path is forward with a meeting of the minds, I think that's a good next step.
Dan, I just sent you Andy's contact information, and I sent Andy yours. Oh, and Andy's calling me now.
So there were 2 people out there with laser levels this weekend shooting.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Oh, is he out there too?
Yeah, because Dan's an engineer as well.
That's funny.
Okay.
No, thanks. Sorry to
No.
kind of.
No, we love it. No, we love all that.
Yeah, the more ideas, the better, especially, when you're talking about investments of moving dirt and water, which seems, simple to do sometimes, but it can get expensive.
Yeah.
And we want to, like you said, solve some of the root problems rather than just, put Band-Aids on things too, so. Any further discussion on this item?
When do we need to get? If I talk to Andy and I don't know. I'm just providing ideas. But how do we get to the root? If once I talk to the gentleman, Andy, what's the path? You get the engineer to draw something up and get, or just come up with a basic plan that everybody agrees on. Is that how to do it, or what's the steps?
Yeah.
So Cancel at the last meeting authorized me to spend, I think it was $11,000 to get the problem fixed if DOT was not going to do it. And so at this point, I've had the conversation with DOT. He's going back out today. He's going back out today to look at one problem. He's going to look at this problem and see if they have any involvement in it, which again, I highly doubt I'm sorry, I'm getting the 2 of them mixed up. They did not authorize me $11,000 on this one. The Greenway, we have not authorized anything on it. They were going to go back and look at a couple different quotes.
We were waiting on Andy to go out this
Yeah,
weekend. We're going to
yeah.
talk about it on Tuesday.
That's right. I'm sorry. I'm getting them mixed up.
So Tuesday of next week?
Yeah.
So council will be bringing it up Tuesday and next week as well. So if you and Andy can get together before then, that'll potentially give them an opportunity, and maybe they can set a budget from there based
Yeah.
upon
And I would
what we
just,
kind of look at.
and I would just have, Dan, I would just have Andy call Christina with whatever you guys kind of came up with, since she's spearheading everything, and then we can hopefully have some sort of resolution, not resolution, but pathway that we're gonna take, and we can talk about it on Tuesday.
By next Tuesday, discuss it with Andy.
Yep, or before next Tuesday
Yeah.
preferably. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have his email you could send me as well? I can forward him an email quickly and call him later.
You good with me?
yeah. Yep,
Thanks again.
thank you. Is it just Andy Morton and
Mhm.
Marvin and CW?
Yep, you got it.
Go.
All right, it seems to be the winter of water. So the next item on the agenda is the playground drainage update.
Everything's just flooding.
It's causing issues in our neighborhood too, so it has been one of the wettest winters we have, and the water just doesn't go away when it's cold and overcast, you know?
So this was a CIP item that Derek had budgeted for this past fiscal year. Brightview Landscaping will be starting work to address this issue on the week of the 8th, which is next week. They'll be installing a French drain, adding gravel and new mulch to the playground surface. That's all Derek left for me to say.
So it's starting next week, basically?
Yep.
Cool. We've already approved it, it's good to go. Fantastic.
Okay. Any questions, Dan, Christina? All right. Moving on, the next is number 5, sponsorship update.
Okay, this one is also really brief. Council has approved a sponsorship and donation policy. Christine is currently checking to see if donations are tax deductible. That's it. That's all we got. It's approved. It's approved. We're checking on that one thing, and
So now we need to figure out what the levels are and how we're gonna start doing that. So I'm assuming that's the
I
next.
thought the levels were in the policy.
I don't think so.
I remember Derek discussing tiers, but I need to review that.
I can't remember. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think they are. But so I'm assuming. No, I'm not gonna say that. Okay, Derek will be back on Tuesday. We'll
Yeah.
check. We'll check in with him on that. Austin, can you make sure that that's on our agenda?
I don't think so. Okay.
Is that sponsorship just for the the frisbee golf?
No, it's for anything in Marvin that we want to have sponsored. So
Nice.
if we build I don't know,
Fitness trail.
another barn or another pavilion, and somebody wants to sponsor it, then they can sponsor it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, thanks a lot.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on to new business items. Number 1 is discussion and.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get to mute fast enough, unmute. If we are taking sponsorships for things like buildings and trails and frisbee golf and all that, could we take sponsorships of volunteer days, meaning somebody would feed the people who volunteer? Just an idea.
I mean, I don't know why not.
Might have to.
Maybe it's a little weird, but I can tell you that group of 30 people converged on some pizza on the 20th like it was, better than it was. So anyway, just something to think about. It would be relatively cheap, but it would sort of be, you would be sponsoring Earth Day cleanup or some, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
So Christina, you're saying like go to restaurants and say, hey, do you want to sponsor this day for basically free advertising?
Maybe a restaurant, although in the year of pandemics, I'm not sure that restaurants are the place to go shake down. But say, whoever would be sponsoring something, I'm trying to think of who would want to do that. Say it was a small law firm in Marvin, I'm making this up, and they wanted to buy pizza for the group that was cleaning up the park on Earth Day. They
Or
could,
realtors.
they would buy.
Often kind of get involved in things.
Yeah,
like
there's
Real estate
definitely,
agents,
yeah.
real estate agents, they're making tons of cash, that would be good.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why why not. I can't remember exactly what the policy says, but we can look at it, and I don't see why that's a problem.
Yeah.
Involvement is involvement and pizza is pizza, so, you know.
Okay. Thank you, Christina. So new business item number 1, discussion and review of sketch plan for Joe Carr Road subdivision.
Okay, I have Mark on the agenda for this one, but I'll introduce it. So we have a new subdivision, major subdivision coming up in Marvin, for which the sketch plan has been submitted. It's called the Estates at Marvin Branch, and it's gonna be a major subdivision of 20 houses on 28 acres off of Joe Carr Road, next to Marvin Creek.
Is that the deer fields on the northern side? Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's 2 fields, so there's like a big field on the corner, and it's like kind of the one
Is
next
it the
to
one that also
Across
goes
from
along
Elysian
Waxhaw
Field?
Marvin across from Firethorn, or?
No.
No, it's the
no.
one right across from Elysian Fields.
I can pull
on
it
Joe
up.
Carr.
Okay, the old homestead house.
Yeah, the old car.
Right next to that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right beside, yeah,
The entry, yeah,
Yeah.
I got you.
yep.
Yeah, it used to be owned, or maybe it's still, but owned
It's
by
still
Ardrey.
yeah.
Yeah, it's still owned by the Ardreys. Give me 1 second. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Anyway, so as part of the sketch plan process, that sketch plan has to be reviewed by all of the 3 boards, in addition to having a public involvement meeting. So this is the first, basically the first step after my original step of saying, okay, you've presented a relatively compliant, I mean, I haven't done a full review of it, but it goes through our conservation subdivision type of design, where you have at least 15 to 30% conserved open space, and in exchange your lots can be 25,000 to 30,000 square feet minimum.
What does that translate to an acre again?
43,000 is an acre. So
So between half and 3/4 of an acre,
Roughly,
because
yeah.
there's more open space
Right,
in,
right,
in
right.
other areas. Okay.
and it still translates to less than an acre, less than 1 lot per acre.
Yeah.
In this case, 20 lots on 28 acres.
Gotcha.
So in this case, we talked about, for your purposes, we talked about easements for greenways in the pre-application meeting between myself and the applicants. They haven't yet included those, so I guess this conversation would be more of a, yeah, that's a good one to look at. This conversation would be more of a discussion on our greenway network map and where some easements already exist and how they could tie into both the existing and future trails. Oh, this is a
Well,
pretty
and-
quality version.
And given, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Given that, as we look at this, where, existing things are on our map, if it doesn't necessarily make sense, does fee in lieu become an option as well?
It does.
Okay.
So are these, the gentlemen that are on the phone, are they the developers?
They are the land planners. They're both, yeah.
Or the developers?
Yeah, they're the
Okay.
site designers. They're both from the land design company. They're not the owners. Let me just double check
Okay,
that.
okay. Everybody stop talking to Rohit, let him.
So,
Right,
Walk me through those.
Mark and Rob are here from land design, representing the project.
Amy.
She's here, I think, for the next item.
She is.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, so while I'm pulling some more stuff up, Mark or Rob, would you like to explain the project?
Yeah, I can jump in here. This is I'm Mark Hahn with Land Design, the landscape architect, site designer for this project on behalf of Jones Homes USA. As Rohit stated, it's a 20-lot subdivision. It's going to be a single access off of Joe Kerr Road on cul-de-sac. Our site is bound by the existing Marvin Creek subdivision to the east. We've also got floodplain for 6 Mile Creek on the northern side of the property, as well as the floodplain for Marvin Branch. So it really just lends itself to just a single on cul-de-sac. I think it's about 1,800 feet in length. We've got the 285-foot fugitive buffer off of the Joe Kerr right-of-way. And discussions with planning, I think it was agreed upon that we were going to look to dedicate a 30-foot wide green easement along the Marvin Branch boundary of the property, and then extend a connection from our proposed entrance with a 6-foot wide trail connection down to any future greenway that might be planned. At this point, yeah, I think we're just looking for any feedback that you guys might have, and be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, so before we get back into the discussion, I want to do a couple of things, to tie in the idea that we do have an easement on the other side of Joe Kerr Road in a yet to be built subdivision, Elysian Fields. The concept is, let's see, let me draw this. This is where the easement is roughly now, and the concept right now would be is if we can, whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Tie in these two easements together so that they would cross Joe Kerr Road at an intersection instead of in the, yeah, exactly, instead of in the, mid-block, very close to an intersection. And then we were also talking about some internal sidewalks that would connect.
Sidewalks are like,
Road to the left of the community.
Yeah,
what's
what's
over
that
there?
road?
Is that new?
This north is facing this way, left.
Right, correct.
So north is, let's see.
so are you talking about this block right here?
Yeah, what's left?
Yeah, what is that property?
That would be a stormwater detention pond there.
Okay. And beyond that, to the left?
Is
Outside
farm
of
on
the
the corner?
No,
next
no.
property
That's
over.
this farm here. Ooh, I keep doing that. This is Mecklenburg County on the left.
Okay.
Okay.
There's this kind of marshy area where,
Oh, is that where it kind of crosses?
If you go up one drawing, it's overlaid on an aerial, I think. If you go up
yeah.
1 feet. 2 sheets, yeah.
Yeah, that's 2 sheets? No.
No, you were there.
That's two. Okay. So let's see. Let me try to annotate
Oh, that's
again.
way bigger than I thought, okay.
Right.
So
So
if you look to the north, Marvin Creek's trail, which I know that's a little different than what we're talking about, it's basically almost above this property on the north, on the left side of the page here.
So
Marvin
Marvin
Creek Trail
Creek's
behind
trail is the one that is up in that upper left-hand corner of this one?
Here?
oh yeah, here.
Is that where you're talking
Is that
about,
what you're
Dan?
talking about? Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that Dan talking? I'm assuming that's Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, is there any way we can? Probably not.
We
Yeah,
have to
that's
ask
looks
the
very
Marvin
wet.
Creek because that's not our trail, so we
But I
can't.
was
no, I
wondering if
know,
we
but
have-
what's gonna happen is people from this neighborhood will walk through the woods to get to that trail line.
Mhm.
Hopefully.
There's hardly any woods to walk through, so they'll just kind of hop over there. I see what
But
you're
I'm just
saying.
wondering, can we have a sidewalk that or a
Mhm.
trail that goes up the backside?
For sure, I think it would be better to discuss that with Marvin Creek's HOA before we ask
Yeah.
or require that of the developer, but I'm sure that's a possibility.
Yeah, I don't think Jones would have any problem making that connection. I mean, for homes of this type, obviously it's just too small to have an amenity, so the walking trails do serve as the amenity. So any kind of connectivity we have is seen as a benefit to this subdivision. So
But I mean,
we'll certainly be open to that.
even if we get it there,
That'd be great.
I mean, listen, I highly doubt, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, I think, I think it's good, it would be good for us to have the conversation with Marvin Creek.
Yeah.
I know that's happened a couple of different times before in different areas, but, things change over time too.
How far do you think that is, Rohit? Can you actually
far?
see that? Like, can we pull up a better,
Sure.
you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Thank you. These are intentions.
The other thing I would mention,
Half sentences.
you know, as we're talking here, one of the things we found we were lacking in kind of a big way is safety measures of crossing. So I think we really need to consider that as part of this as well. So when we're crossing Joe Kerr,
Yeah.
we need to be sure, I think we would be remiss to install any more crossings or encourage any more crossings that don't have the safety measures already.
That's been looked into.
Where's the corner of the property?
And is that the intent, Rohit, of why you were talking about moving it more towards that
Where
intersection?
are we right now? Is it?
Oh, okay,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
Marvin- this is Marvin
Since I'm
Creek.
doing an aerial, let me re-explain where this is. Okay, so this is Joe Carr Road here, and I should have started with this, but here's the property. It's 28 acres on Joe Carr Road, and it's between Marvin Creek. The Carr estate is here, so it's not on that estate, but it's the property next to it.
Yeah.
And here's that field where the guy has, the 2 horses and the donkey that
Right.
goes up.
And the
so
llamas?
They have llamas
Yeah.
now?
They have llamas.
Oh, that's cute. Oh, they
Yeah,
have.
they do, that's
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Right, but it's not that rocky.
Judy loves it.
I love them too.
It's kind of very long. You wouldn't know that it's this long driving down Joe Carr Road. You probably see up to this tree line and
You
then
see like right through,
yeah,
I think there.
Yeah.
right. You'll see maybe this tree line and then maybe see this tree line beyond that and not realize that this property is 28
Gotcha.
acres long.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Why do we need to engage Marvin Creek?
Um,
It seems to me the trail would be on the opposite side of Joe Carr Road.
In case we wanted to provide a connection to that sidewalk,
Right there.
we'd have to cut it through their property and connect it through to what would be a private sidewalk.
Okay.
So,
And how far is that? on their
that, yeah, I
property?
measured it about 150 feet.
Yeah, that's not much
bad.
at all.
Yeah,
That's a brainer to me.
I'm sure that there's common space back there, cause it's common space back
Oh,
there.
that'd be all right.
Yeah.
Alright, Redhead, that's on your list.
Okay, sure. But
Yes, ma'am.
Please, sir. Dan, I'm with you on the,
Crosswalk.
safety of the crosswalk, 100%.
mhm.
I'm just not sure, since we don't have anything on the south side, how that would work.
So the future.
No, I got it. I think just any time in the future, this is clearly a place where we plan on crossing the road at
I
some point.
agree, yeah.
Dan, I agree 100%.
Never ever build one again without the
Yeah.
safety measures in place.
We're
Yeah.
fighting that Joe Carr thing right now.
I know. Well, and I mean,
People go through there like.
four or three of the 4 neighborhoods were on board with adding the cross.
Canterbury Creek.
No, they
Was it
weren't.
Marvin Creek? Oh, my.
Yeah. So, but we know, I mean, we're gonna have to do something. We would just really like the neighborhoods,
For another day, I'd love to
Participation.
know why they object to that.
they just never gave us an answer. Oh, no, that's not, well, yeah. They never gave us an
Because
answer.
that neighborhood's full of children.
Yes.
And they use those trails all the time.
Yeah, and it's not just the kids that use them.
No.
So I like doing, keep going,
Hmm?
keep going.
Keep going, keep
Keep
going.
Keep going and now go up. Yeah. There you go.
That's what I like.
Yep. Looks good.
Okay, cool. The master plan was drawn up with the idea that the 6 Mile Creek Greenway would eventually cross over Marvin Road and be on the Mecklenburg side all the way up to Ray Road and beyond. And so this stub here would be like if we were to build a bridge and directly tie into.
But that's on Met County side, so we're not gonna be able to.
Right, not anytime soon. This blue stuff I've drawn in a different color just to show you that that's all on Mecklenburg side, but
Is that there now?
no.
Oh, okay.
It's on the far side of Marvin Road only. But the
Oh, yeah.
overall plan is that
Okay.
it would cross Marvin Road and go this way, and that's why our master plan has tied in.
Because that's what Met
This-
County says.
Right, this
Okay.
section here eventually, I think this is a more medium-term project, if not long-term, but.
Why would we just not have it up to the line and just wait for it
Right, that's what I'm saying.
now? Now.
Right.
Now,
So, yeah, like that, yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm taking
And
this.
then stop
this-
there and then we'll
section
like
here.
get, as much as we can get done when it's being developed, let's get it
Let's
done.
do it.
yeah,
Right, and this is just to ask the developer for an easement. We nor they have to build that section of trail now, but if we can plan ahead
Yeah.
for that direct connection to the 6 Mile Creek Greenway, it would be an amenity for the whole.
Why wouldn't we just have them build it now?
for everyone that's connected, because then Marvin Creek also.
Right,
you know.
but why couldn't we have them connected now?
You mean have them build this
Yeah.
section now?
We can ask, right?
We can ask, yeah.
Why not have,
It
if
wouldn't
it's,
hurt.
if it's being developed and being built, why not have them do it while they're out there instead of having to
Absolutely,
come back
it
and?
sure wouldn't hurt to ask.
I certainly would ask that.
It'll never be less expensive overall to get built that way.
Then do it the
Exactly.
first time, yeah.
What do you think about that, Mark?
We'll have to take it to Jones Homes and Ben Coon and get their feedback on that.
Sure.
And Rohit, interestingly, the idea you meant, it's such a good one. So we were talking a while ago about the way we get to the 6 mile loop that exists now is we have to get a bridge right next to Marvin Road.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like a pretty nice substitute for where to put the connection to that side. So it's
Right.
pretty great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like a bridge here instead of a bridge near Marvin Road.
Yeah.
That would be far
Yeah.
more substantial.
Well, I mean, then you're coming from here. You can come in from here.
Yeah.
I love
I
the
mean-
interconnectivity of all of this.
I mean, that's really, can you?
Uh,
I mean, I think that would be, a wonderful amenity for this neighborhood in order to have connectivity to the rest of Marvin, and it would be easy for them to kind of traverse around. So great selling point for that neighborhood.
Yeah, otherwise I guarantee that they're gonna be frustrated because they're gonna be walking across, like, if you look at,
Right,
it's just up the curve to get to the trails, they can't.
right, yep,
No, this is great.
And they're gonna do it, but they're gonna do it in an unsafe and,
dangerous
you know,
way.
sloppy way.
Yep,
And that's what we're doing now. Oh, that's terrific. Now, will this be a concrete path?
hopefully it'll be a, natural, right? I would say natural.
It might be a natural trail that lines up with the master plan's
Okay.
internal neighborhood vision for those trails.
Yeah, because it's gonna be more internal than it's gonna be like along the,
Okay.
you know.
So I'm sorry, I need actual surface trail?
Right.
Okay.
I just have a quick question because I was interested and I didn't quite understand it. It looks like a lot of these properties are real close or on top of the existing easement for the sewer. Is there an issue with that, or is that okay?
No, there's an existing sewer line there now. The only thing is they can't build houses literally on top of the sewer line, but I mean, there's plenty of backyard space.
So some of these deeds will just have the easement in the deed.
Right, and a couple of these houses will have a manhole in their backyard, and this is a very common thing whenever something gets permitted or it's requested to be permitted, like a pool or a deck. I just you see this where the sewer easement is surveyed, and I tell them you can't build on or 2 feet within 2 feet within 2 feet of that sewer easement, and just just keep that in mind whenever you're building something, but it's very common to have all sorts of easements in your yards.
Yep. And get pretty close to the house there.
Right.
I like that.
Okay.
I can revert to previous drawings, restore last annotation. Yay.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Any further discussion here?
I think it's great.
So,
great.
good ideas that we have, we can leave with the developers to kind of chew on and have further discussion with Rohit, and Rohit will reach out to Marvin Creek as well, just to kind of check the temperature there. So.
Right. And finally, I would request that land design and the property owner or buyer would draw these easements on a site plan or the next iteration of the sketch plan, and then I'll bring it back to you guys next month.
Be
Okay.
great.
Sure.
Awesome. Okay.
All right.
Thanks for the
No problem.
Thank you.
And anything more from the developers or?
Land guys? No, I'm good. Good.
Nope.
Thanks,
Okay.
gentlemen.
All right. Well, this has
Thank you very
got.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This has got a long process ahead of it. PRG board is like the first of many steps, and this is just a sketch plan too. So there's going to be a
Yeah.
public involvement meeting, planning board and council approval just for the sketch plan, and then they come back with a construction plan, go through the boards again, and then they can start building. So that's where we are.
We will keep moving the process along
Mm-hmm.
on our end.
Sounds good.
All right, next item in new business is number 2, which is a discussion of Union County Public Schools Initiative. And Bob, I know you've been kind of running with this, and you have a guest that's participating in
I
the
do.
video.
Amy Sperry with Union County Department of Education is here. But before she presents, what I'd like to do is to just walk through why she's here. And I think most of everyone's familiar with Marsh. I hope they are. And for Amy's benefit, and maybe Dan's as well, Marsh is an acronym that stands for Marvin Area for the Restoration and Sustainability of Wildlife Habitat. And we formed back in late 2018. We had our first meeting in January 2019. And we became a certified wildlife habitat, Marvin that is, in the same year of 2019, which was quite an accomplishment. And so we were really happy about that. Currently, we have 120 homes/yards that are wildlife certified habitats. We have 6 schools, we have 3 farms, so on and so forth. And we're proud of that. Christina heads up Marsh now, and given the fact that we fought COVID for the last 12 months, having that many properties certified in this area is pretty impressive. But when we formed Marsh, one of our primary goals was to engage our community in educating and engaging our community of Marvin. And the big piece of the education is schools. And we do have 6 schools already involved, but we want to engage more schools and impact more children throughout Union County. So with that said, just recently, Christina and I have donated our stipend that we get monthly for serving on the Park, Rec, and Greenway Committee. And we donated that money to Marsh. And we like to use that money in whole or in part for working with schools. So I reached out to the school system, the Union County Department of Education, and they recommended that I speak with,
I think Amy, is that going?
is it Amy?
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so I was able to touch base with Amy Sperry, and Amy is the executive director of the Union County Education Foundation. And we spoke, and we believe that we have an opportunity to work together on something significant. And we've invited her to be here to explain what she does and how we might be able to work with her, specifically on something called the GROW Grant. And with that said, Amy, welcome, and you have the floor. So if you could walk us through the foundation and the GROW Grant, that'd be terrific.
Sure. Let me just check. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm more familiar with Zoom. This is even my first WebEx meeting, and so I was not sure how to unmute myself. I think maybe someone did it for me.
I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna mute us so that there's less. feedback.
I'll just give you a little bit of background on our foundation, on Education Foundations, and if someone could tell me how much time I have. It's 10:04, right?
You have the floor, so.
Okay, just hold up a big F. You guys want me to stop talking, so.
Okay.
And just to clarify, the Union County Education Foundation is a nonprofit. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. So we were established in 2011. And just to further clarify, we are not a PTO, we're not a band booster, we're not a PTO on steroids. So PTOs and band boosters and athletic boosters are all very necessary and important to individual schools. They work at the 1,000-foot level with the schools. We work at the 30,000-foot level with the district. So our perspective is for every student, every campus, every teacher, and all of UCPS. We're only the education foundation for the 53 Union County public schools. A lot of the private schools have their own development office, and the charter schools also have foundations. So our focus is just Union County public schools. The education movement started in the United States in California in the 70s and spread across the country. About half of the districts in the U.S. have education foundations. And it was started in California in response to Prop 8, which capped property taxes, and so the community decided that they would start nonprofits to support the public schools. So a lot of you probably went to college, have alma maters, get calls from students in the alumni office or the advancement office asking you to give a gift as an alum. And so our model is that we are the philanthropic arm for K-12 education, similar to your alumni office at your alma mater or your development office. It's just that this model is fairly new to North Carolina and new-ish in the United States when you compare that we've only been around, for 30, 40 years, and like the American Red Cross, for example, has been around since the late 1800s. So people still don't understand what an education foundation is and what we do. So part of a lot of what I do is just educating people and helping them get it. So what do? We give grants for teachers for innovative things they want to do in their classrooms. We call those LIFT grants. It stands for Leadership and Innovation Funding for Teachers. We also give scholarships for students. We've given scholarships to every high school in the county. We also do a lot of recognition activities for the Teachers of the Year. In fact, since you all are from Marvin, Justin Jones is one of the top 10 Teachers of the Year at Marvin Ridge High School. And we are doing some things to recognize the top 10 Teachers of the Year. He's also a teacher that 2 times in the past, one of our scholarship recipients has paid tribute to him. And so we recognize those teachers in a special way that our scholarship recipients have tributed. But I'm here to talk more about the GROW grant, which is not an acronym like the LIFT grant. I still have not come up with a good acronym for it, but we called it that because if you were to pull up our website on the screen share that you all just did, and I just want to say that mapping that you did was really impressive. Yeah,
Rohit's a master.
The GROW grant, it was our effort to get teachers to work together as a team. So for the LIFT grant, in some ways they're competing with one another because we could get 5 to 7 grant applications from an individual school, and all those teachers are kind of competing for their individual projects to impact their individual classrooms. So there you go, there we are. That is Dedrick Russell participating in our Principal Per Day program. So if you go to the GROW grant, it's under grants and scholarships. You can pull it up there. You'll see pictures from our very first GROW grant. So in the application, we tell teachers they have to have a team of teachers. So it has to be 3 or 4 teachers and 1 or 2 administrators. I think if you go down even further, you'll see some more pictures of our first grade grant project. That was, so we awarded $5,000 to Western Union Elementary School for their outdoor classroom. And so we call it an outdoor, some people call it an outdoor garden, but if you want to think of it as an outdoor, more of an outdoor classroom, so there's an awning and stumps for kids to sit on. The whole thing is ADA compliant, so if they ever have a student with disability issues or in a wheelchair, they can still participate in the classroom. So everything is built around the edges of the sidewalks. So we gave them $5,000, but one of the things we loved about that grant opportunity was that it created excitement in the community and interest. So our GROW grant grew other things. So one of the members of that picture is the Waxhaw Weddington Rotary Club president. So they gave $3,000 to the project. The PTO gave $2,000. And that was just a stellar example of our, inaugural projects, doing a GROW grant and getting the teachers to collaborate. And our theory is that when you get more brain power in the room, that they're going to create an even bigger, better, and more impactful project for students than just one teacher working on his or her own to create a project for the classroom, their own classroom. And some of those LIFT grants are also, school-wide grants too, but this grant opportunity kind of forced collaboration in a different way. So the second year, our project was given to Benton High School of the Arts to do a similar program with an outdoor classroom, but unfortunately they didn't have the same level of community support with the PTO. I'm not sure their school even has a PTO, so or with a Rotary Club. So they didn't take their project as far as fast and grow as much, but they're making steady progress. Plus, they didn't have to deal, the Western Union project didn't have to deal with COVID, so that created a significant number of barriers. But the thing I've been talking to Bob about was, so we started the GROW grant not with the intention of it being only for outdoor projects, but that seems to be what is kind of taken off and what our committee is interested in funding. And just to reiterate, I don't make these decisions on my own. We have a board of directors of 18 volunteers, and there's a committee that makes these decisions. We also include school district personnel because we want to be careful to stay aligned. Even though we are not a project or a program of the school district, we stay closely aligned and in step with what they do so that we can, further our partnership there and make sure that we're funding things that they care about and that there are their strategic initiatives and, not just going off on a wild hair to do something we think is a good idea. We're sort of embedded in the school district, but also somewhat separate. So like I'm sitting here in the school district building at 400 North Church Street because they donate space to us. So, but what I talked to Bob about was that we want to grow our GROW grant to the point where we're giving more than one a year. So and I talked to the committee this last week about creating 2 kind of branches of the GROW grant, pun intended, I guess. And so one would be GROW outside and one would be GROW inside. So we would give 2 every year, and one would be for an outdoor project and one would be for something that's maybe more of an indoor project, like a learning lab or, maker spaces in the library, or a lot of schools are applying for sensory pathways, which are, turning a hallway into kind of a de-escalation zone for students who, need to calm down and reconnect. And it's kind of a pathway that you move through for yoga poses and that kind of thing. So anyway, just wanting to talk with you all about the possibility of sponsoring the Grow Outside program, whether it's through funding, whether it's through, any kind of in-person help that you would want to give to the project. Of course, Bob and I talked yesterday, and all of that would be on a, as needed volunteer basis if you're able. I think a lot of these projects, the outdoor ones, the teachers kind of roll up their sleeves and work during the summers or on weekends doing, and any help that they get is appreciated because it just relieves them of some of that burden. The first project, like you're seeing there, the principal I don't think is in that picture, but when I visited in the summer, she was, in her shorts and t-shirt, getting dirty, doing the project. I also helped to recruit a group from Elevation Church during their Love Week to help get that project off the ground. So yeah, we can just see the way in which that project is going to continue to expand. We made our decision for this year last week, and it's top secret until we announce it publicly to the school. But it's again another exciting project that I think you guys would be happy to be a part of. So we always feel like the more we can get partners to do what we do, the more we can expand and the more good we can do for children and students. Recently I reached out to a parent of a student at Western Union Elementary who he is in one of their programs to help kids who have trouble with behavior issues. And he uses the outdoor classroom a lot to calm down and get, a sense of himself again. He has ADHD, and the mom said that Western Union Elementary and that outdoor classroom had just been a gift to him. Really interesting story about, not a lot of success in the school setting until they moved there. So, of course, it's not just the outdoor classroom, it's the teachers and the whole community there, but that's a piece of what has helped him to have finally a good school experience for someone who had a lot of discouragement in the school setting. So I'm open to taking questions. I didn't introduce myself. I'll give you just the 30-second. I live in Waxhaw. I live close to downtown Waxhaw. My husband teaches at UNC Charlotte. He's an outdoor educator, so right up that area of what a lot of you do. So he teaches leadership and rock climbing and kayaking and canoeing. If you Google Dave Sperry, UNC Venture Program, you'll find him. He does a lot with challenge courses and ropes courses. So we have 2 children. We have a 19-year-old daughter. And we have a 3-year-old son. So we had a miracle child. So he is in preschool, and my daughter works at the Wesley Chapel Chick-fil-A and is doing online classes through South Piedmont Community College. So we've lived here since 2013. We're kind of from Asheville, but we're both military kids, so we're kind of from nowhere and everywhere. And that's us. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about the Education Foundation. It's my passion. It's what I want to be my personal legacy. And I'm excited to see it attract and gain more awareness in the community and more participants and partners. So happy that I got connected to Bob through the CFO from the school district. Yeah.
Austin will be unmuted.
Oh, sorry, I'm doing this. 1 second. Not as professional as There we go. Sorry, we were muted.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that information. I guess one question I have for Bob is just to understand better. You mentioned, kind of working with these folks through Marsh. Marsh is kind of separate from us.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
and bringing that to us, just kind of gaining your understanding and what your thoughts are on how we draw these connections.
Yeah, well, bringing it to the PRG is simply from a communication perspective of letting everybody know what Marsh is up to and making sure you're in alignment. I called Kim to make sure that she fully understood what we were doing as well. So I wanted to make sure everybody's being communicated with as we move forward with this. Mm-hmm. Nothing's been finalized. We haven't developed a specific program yet. That's to follow. So this is more of a communication effort. And then Amy and I will continue to meet and develop as we move forward. So that's really what this is about.
And really it's kind of Marsh kind of formalizing a philanthropic relationship with the Union County.
It's really a platform of both the engagement of the community at all levels and the education of our children, which is the mission statement for Marsh. So this is a great platform for us.
Yeah, and I know one of the things that we've talked about before even is, you think about some of our greenways and trails. The Chimneys Trail, which we have an easement still to be fully developed, which runs right along, Sandy Ridge Elementary, and, thoughts we've had in the past about how, if we're able to develop that trail to a greater degree, then, the school itself, the elementary school, would be able to perhaps have some programs utilizing the trail from nature, educational perspective, and things like that. So I certainly do see it aligning with a number of the things that we've talked about in the past and currently. So.
I totally agree with that. And when Bob called yesterday, I was like, yeah, I think this is a great idea. I think the earlier you can get to kids and educate them about outdoors and wildlife and habitats, and I think the better, because a lot of these kids aren't going to have that type of exposure, and being able to get it early and in the school setting with their friends to make it exciting, I think is great. I think Bob kind of wants, everybody's like, yeah, this is a good idea. I mean, he's like, we're going to do it anyway, but I think it's a great idea. I definitely want to talk about it at our council meeting next week. So I like the idea. And I think, as you guys continue to put together kind of what the program's going to look like and how, how it's going to work, I'm excited about that. I think that maybe even contacting some of the other communities that are certified wildlife habitats in Union County, they might want to kind of get on board and kind of do it, maybe not together, but they might be interested in, getting involved in this, which I think is,
Well, the more the merrier in terms of educating our children.
Yes, absolutely. So I think it's great. I'm excited to kind of see what you guys come up with and how this progresses. I think it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, oh, go ahead, Dan.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think there's a lot of opportunities for the school to partner with the schools to leverage the assets we have in the green spaces and the work that we're already doing.
Yep.
And so this is really a great way to do that. And based on the proximity of some of the schools to the trails, like you were saying, and we have the asset of Marvin Park, and there's just a lot of support we may be able to provide without doing a lot, but just being open to the teachers that want to take advantage of the GROW program or other types of investments that they're going to make in the kids in terms of education. So one thing I was wondering is, should we make some kind of statement in support of, maybe not today, just thinking out loud, in support of teachers that want to utilize green space in Marvin for like their GROW grant, if they have a project they want to do, that we're very encouraging of them to come talk to us about any projects they want to do in the green space that the village has as an asset.
That would be great.
Yeah, and I think we should include Rayview and Sandy Ridge, even though they're not technically in Marvin, they're still part of the Marvin cluster, so definitely not leave them out.
Yeah.
Well, they're in 28173, which we represent.
Right.
So okay.
Yeah, and I would say too, you know, a lot of what we do is obviously we're a village board and we're focused to Marvin, but we're also a community that's very blessed, you know, and the fact that this educational foundation focuses on the county as a whole, you know, makes me feel real good about it too, that we're really would be reaching out a little bit beyond that with our resources, and like we said, to the extent that, you know, with this relationship and communications, we can offer things that we've developed, like Marvin Eford Park or trails to, you know, other schools or communities, you know, to kind of help share what we're fortunate to have. I think is important too, and as such, Bob mentioned, you know, donating his stipend. I'd like to do that as well.
Well, thank you.
One question I have, in terms of the types of programs that you have, do you ever support things like that folks do, field trips or things like that, or those type of things? Because I remember when I was a kid growing up in Brooklyn, New York City, and you know that there are people that don't even have the exposure. Maybe they live in the city of Monroe or things like that. But do you ever look at kind of supporting those type of things for you know, with any of your grants or things like that, to help kids that may not have the exposure to some of these outdoor resources to at least introduce them to them? I think you're on mute. You might have, did you mute her, Austin?
Can you unmute her?
I can't unmute, but I can request an unmute.
No.
There
you go.
I usually need a tutorial on that. We had done some of that through our lift grant program. Some of them have been reverse field trips, where I can think of a mini zoo that got brought to Walter Bickett Elementary, and I think we would fund a field trip if it aligns with the standard course of curricula and with what Union County calls Empowered, which is their standard for good teaching. So the Empowered framework helps students stay connected. There's 3 C's: collaborate, connect, and create. So some of that has happened over the course of the last 7 years. We've given away 203 lift grants to different projects, funding everything from after school rock band to a green exercise lab at an elementary school. Sure that to completely a librarian, a media center specialist, to completely reorganize the fiction section to match more of a Netflix kind of model, because young people understand Netflix, but they don't understand reading small. So yeah, I mean, I could probably find, you know, like 20 different themes of lift grants that we have funded over the years. So.
Well, Amy, Amy, I think what would be appropriate is just, you know, I think there's a consensus that this is worth doing. And I think you and I need to get together and talk about how do we build something in terms of what are the specifics of the GROW grant and how you benefit and how we may benefit as well. And then I'll bring that back to Marsh and Christina. And then we'll try to move forward as soon as we can. And does that work for you?
That works for me.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, guys, Bob and Amy, I would like to be involved as much as I can.
Sure.
So most of my questions are probably from a Marsh perspective. So maybe we can talk some other time together and just
That'd be great.
hash the stuff out.
So we'll set up a follow-up either Zoom meeting or hopefully face-to-face one day. So, but anyway, thank you very much for coming, Amy.
Sounds good.
Well-
I'll see if I can figure out how to get out of here.
All right. You take care.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you, Bob, for making the connection there and bringing them to the table.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be terrific.
I like it.
Okay.
All right, the next item on the agenda, number 3, is discussion of the Marvin Eford Park
I
sign.
think we need Rohit. Is he available?
He had to jump into a meeting.
Okay.
Well,
Here,
here's the,
see with Christina.
Yeah, I'm not sure about what.
I asked that.
I couldn't
that
quite
we
hear him when he
talk-
whispered.
I asked that we talk about the sign. We've been talking about the Eford Park sign almost as long as I've been on the Park Rec and Greenway Committee, which is almost 3 years. And we either need to decide that we're gonna move the sign, not move the sign.
And you're talking about the one that's on the fence.
On the fence.
I know, I wanna see it driving by.
You can't see it unless you look.
I know.
And we've been talking about this.
We've talked
At
about
our
it.
last meeting, Kim said, you know, it's all great and well, that we got all these great ideas, but let's get some of this stuff done.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did. And I was in total agreement with that comment. And this is one of those things we've been talking about, and we haven't acted on. And for the life of me, if they change that clay across the street from Eford Park, I'll miss the turn-in, because that's how I know Eford Park's coming up. I don't see a sign, and by the time I see the sign, I'm gone.
No, I agree with you. And we've talked about having it.
Yeah.
So-
Is it
Perpendicular
as
to the
simple
road.
as, is it as simple, maybe not perpendicular, but even an angle with 2 signs so it doesn't come out too
Yeah,
far?
I don't know,
Or
because I feel like
Kind of triangular.
the sign
is
ordinance.
it, yeah,
Kind of like what
is
we
it
have
a
with coffee
worry?
for council, so you can see it
Yeah.
coming from both directions.
The only rule really for signs, as long as they're outside of the DOT right of way, is
Yeah.
that they don't obstruct any sight triangles. So when you're coming out of the driveway, there's like a triangle. We'll look at a traffic manual.
Yeah.
That you're coming out of the driveway. You can look left. You can look right. As long as the sign is not obstructing that view,
Yeah.
and
Are
it's
you
on your
talking
property.
literally about this driveway right here?
Yeah,
That's
our
not
no,
us.
that's the wrong thing.
I know, I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, where?
We aren't
I mean,
paved.
our park driveway. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, that driveway, you
Yeah,
can't see that
No,
driveway.
no, no,
Okay.
no. I mean, like the driveway coming out.
See, you can't even
Yeah.
see it.
It's
And,
behind a
I mean,
tree.
this is even being generous. Like we all know that you don't see that sign driving up the road
Uh-huh.
until,
No, you
you're,
Yeah.
until you're right in front of it, and that's no way for a sign
Can
to
you
be.
go to that side of the driveway? Let me look at it. Yeah, see, I'm thinking like on this side, because there's less of a ditch,
Mhm.
put something like that, like there.
Mhm.
Like have it, like the coffee with council sign, is it still up?
No, they're down.
No, but see how
The posts are, yeah.
triangular, see
Yeah.
how the posts are
Well,
like
and that's
that?
what I was, because then you're not extending as far
It's
out.
not straight out like
blocking-
this, and
line
it's
of
like
sight.
this, so you can see it from both directions.
Yeah.
I mean, I have been saying that for a long time.
So, if
But do
we're,
we have a sign, we have a sign ordinance, so
Right.
does it have any, like, are we okay if we did something like that?
Yeah, the only other thing is that it has to be less than 20 square feet total, but like our temporary sign ordinance doesn't have a limit, so I don't know how big our banners are, but like, yeah, 20 square feet total.
How big
What-
is that?
So,
It's
Ten.
4 by 5,
Yeah,
like.
Oh, that's big.
It's
and,
big.
and are you limited to one? So, like, would that make a difference?
Each
if-
side,
if-
one, so you
Yeah,
can have
yeah,
both.
If they're diagonal, you have 2 different
Yeah, you
signs.
can have 2 signs
You
and
can
they
do it that way
easily-
to kind of
yeah.
get around that.
Yeah.
Hey Kim, I know
Hey,
that
Austin.
I know that in the past that council's talked about community wayfinding signs. Having one of those literally saying "park," right turn would direct people to.
Yeah, I like the wayfinding, but I think we need to have like a sign
I
at
do
the
too.
park that's like, that you're at the park, like here we are,
I do
and I
too.
like the sign that's on the fence.
Yeah, it's almost like you need to double it and put
And
it
just
out
go-
in that angle.
Yeah, I think you can leave the sign on the fence, but I think, can you go to the sign on the fence when you're done drawing? Oh, why'd you?
I have to escape
I'm
the
sorry.
drawing in order to.
I would just get 2 of those done,
Uh-huh.
and I would take off the address because you can leave it on that, right?
Yeah.
And then just put Marvin Eford, and you can have a seal at the top.
Well, Derek has gotten 2 quotes.
Oh, good, yeah.
And he's gotten quotes.
Bob is all about getting stuff done now. I like it.
Yeah, so he said there's 2 different ways we can do this. For a second sign that matches our current sign exactly, the cost of that is $3,800 after taxes.
What?
And he said this is very expensive because it has raised lettering or something.
Okay, maybe we don't need it that fancy.
Yeah.
On the flip side, for 2 new signs that are flat aluminum 4x5s that would be on poles, that'd be about $3,100. Now this is a one vendor. Now his opinion is for the staff to build the frame and see if we can negotiate the price for the 2 new signs down to $1,500, so that we can buy it without getting 3 quotes. Currently, they're $838 each, which puts us over the $1,500 threshold.
Yeah.
That we've got to get multiple quotes. So he's recommending that we get, if we're going to follow the 4x5, we would get 2 metal signs, 4x5, put them flush back to back and put them on poles.
I don't like that. I
I
like the triangle better.
Well,
Don't you?
yes, but I like that
I know I
color.
Why can't we build a triangle? It's as easy as a flat.
I think so too. I agree with that.
I like that.
Is that DOT standard?
I mean, I like that too,
What's
but
that?
I don't know that we need it raised.
Doesn't have to be.
Like,
No, I don't know.
No,
that.
for the safety
If
purposes,
you
right?
replicated that and it
Our
was just
property,
flat
and
print
the right of way,
on
and
an
it's
aluminum
like
sign.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, that makes
How
sense.
big is 4x5?
It's about,
I also have a printer that might be able to help us get our costs down. Bob is the same guy we use for the Marsh Signs.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's big enough.
yeah, that's pretty
It's
big.
fairly shot.
Yeah.
That's big enough, right?
Do we know how big that sign is?
I don't know.
Well, I guess
Yeah,
that's
sure.
probably a
Yeah,
4-foot fence. That probably looks about 4'5". Because typically, if you think that's
Height?
probably 12" between those rings, that's 4 foot high.
Well,
So it's
to
about
get-
that size.
I wish I had. We got, Christina and I got up with Rowett on the Certified Wildlife Habitat Community sign. Those are 3x4s. And those are pretty big.
So 4x5.
And now we're going about 4x5. And
That's good then.
oh, yeah,
Okay, I just want to make sure people can see.
they will.
Okay.
They will see it.
All right, so.
And I think they need to be, can I add something?
Yes,
Let's make them look great.
I agree.
You know, I don't want,
I don't want to look.
Well,
Yeah.
I would say you could make it look almost exactly like that, just flat instead of raised lettering,
I
if
agree.
that's where a lot of the money's coming
I
out.
agree, because that's probably a wooden sign too.
Yeah, I believe it is.
You know, yeah.
it's a beautiful sign.
I know, but I don't even think, do you think that we need the address on the sign that's triangle?
You're already there.
So,
Well,
Because they are, when
I
you
guess
pull in,
the
you're
only,
like, oh, there's the address, I know where I'm here.
I guess the only good thing is that if you're trying to give people directions and things like that, you know, it
Yeah.
might be good, meet me at the park and, you know.
Here's the address.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can put in your GPS.
I know, but it's still gonna take you there, and you're still
Yeah.
gonna see Marvin Eford Park,
yeah,
Right.
the things, and then when you turn in, you're like, oh, I'm at the right spot, there's the address.
yeah.
Because when you take the address off, you've got a little bit more white space there to make it look a little better.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
I think you take the address off.
I do.
yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay, so can we have Derek, can somebody let Derek know next week to let's see, or Christina, do you
Hey,
wanna see if you
Christine-
can work on the,
Can I ask the question of everybody? If we're gonna take the address off,
yeah.
and if we're gonna redesign the sign, it's gonna look that,
He wants to say a wildlife habitat.
exactly.
I think it's a great idea.
Just to say,
Sorry, I stole your
this is a
thunder.
certified wildlife habitat.
Sorry, I stole your thunder.
No, I'm just thinking it's a great way to promote the park.
I
Well,
agree.
Here's another.
Just
thought.
certified wildlife habitat?
Habitat, yeah.
Okay.
Here's another thought though, because part of what may be driving up the cost of the sign is the unique shape of it as well.
Yeah.
So if you take off the address and you move Marvin Eford Park down, maybe you have the seal there and it's more of like a rectangular sign that might not cost nearly as much money.
You do have
I agree.
you do have the establishment year in between the address and Eford Park. It's very hard to see, but it says established 2012.
Well, and that's still fine to have on there. I don't know
That's
that
fine.
you
But I
necessarily
think if you
need
move
that.
it down and you make it not so, because you can, again, that sign can stay there.
Yeah.
And you get it, and then you can move the seal down, and then you can get rid of the address, and then you can put certified wildlife habitat.
Yeah, why don't we do this? Why don't we get several different layouts?
Mm-hmm.
In a
Who's gonna do those?
configuration, take a look at them and see which one we like the best.
Christina, I thought you volunteered for that.
I might find someone that can volunteer for that. It's not.
I'm taking notes for Derek.
I'll see if he'll do it, but it's not, just,
Yeah.
you can't just like draw it and go, yeah, that'll work.
If you
But-
have somebody that you think might be able to help us, that'd be awesome. I was really
Yeah, and he
kidding.
could, I'll have to ask, but he could do a couple of layouts, because I agree 100% getting that weird shape off. I mean, it looks cool, but that's costing money.
Yeah, yeah. I like it, and then adding the certified wildlife habitat.
So it needs to have the seal, the certified wildlife habitat verbiage, and Marvin Eford Park on it.
And establish
2012.
2012.
2012.
Are you guys okay with the font still?
I don't know that you even need the established, because you're
'Cause it's
still gonna
there?
have that there.
Okay,
Agreed.
I can take that off, I'm okay with that.
We're just trying to get the eyeballs to some degree.
Yeah.
You know,
Do we have a certified,
Oh, absolutely.
okay,
logo.
yeah. No, I mean, stick in the yard? Sign in the yard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Does it need to have the Wildlife Federation seal on it, or just the words certified
No.
wildlife habitat?
We don't
Certified.
need, just certified wildlife habitat would be
Good.
enough.
Okay.
And Christina and I went into the park to identify a place to put the sign that Kim's talking about. And we have the location, it's just a matter of getting Derek to put it in the ground.
Okay.
Dan, you had a question or comment?
Yeah, it's sort of related. And so the question I have is, what happens if you're in the park after it closes at 5?
I think the gate's automatically open for you to leave.
Yes.
I've heard that. I've never tested it.
I left early the other day to make sure I didn't get stuck.
Yeah,
So I was just wondering.
Yeah, I think if you're still in there after it closes, you can get out, you just can't get in.
Yeah, it automatically opens from the inside is was my understanding a long time ago when we got them.
Me too.
Got it, because right now we close at 5, but it's, really nice out until
Yeah.
6:50 or something like that. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that people get stuck there a lot.
Daylight
You know,
saving.
There used to be a
coming.
sign with hours, but I don't think that sign is there as you drive in anymore.
Yeah, we were talking about doing that too, Bob and I.
Okay.
Aren't they there, or are they gone?
I
On
mean,
park
that's
hours?
there, but this is from 2018.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
it was, okay.
Well, and I forget, because for a while we used to call it from dawn till dusk, and then did we go more with specific hours, or was it still dusk?
Now that their hours vary by, I just saw the website, the hours vary from
Season.
8 a.m. to somewhere between 5 and 8, depending on the month of the year.
Okay.
Okay.
Four different hours, depending on the time.
Why
of
don't we do dawn to dusk? Is that a problem?
I think we did that initially, but
Subjective, so staff, I
Yeah.
mean, park staff may close it earlier one day than another day, and people are like, well, you
all of a
closed
sudden the
it.
bathrooms are
Yeah.
locked, and yeah.
Yeah, I think having set times is probably it's easier for staff to be able to say, it closes at this time.
At 8 p.m. and
Yeah.
sunrise.
So someday I'm gonna test it and I have to call Derek and say, let me out please, because
Yeah.
I tested it.
Yeah, just make sure he's not out of town.
Alright, sounds good.
All right.
Great question,
And-
Zach. So we're
and-
moving forward with the signs. Everybody's in agreement with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further discussion on the signs?
And we are talking about the park guys building the frame, right? Is that what we said?
That's what Derek
That's
said.
what Derek's recommending, Christina.
Okay. And we're thinking about a V shape, not, flat.
Yeah,
Correct.
I mean, it won't matter from the design side.
no.
Yeah.
It'll look great.
Okay, the next item on the agenda for new business is number 4, discussion of Marvin Garden's change of flowers.
Hey, so, I figured this is an administrative amendment, but I did want to get your opinion on this before I give them an okay. Basically, the developer has come back and said, you know, this is what they said. I just put the email right in the memo. They wanted to change the plants to a flowering perennial rather than flowering annuals. And they are currently planted with pansies, and they wanted to replace them with flowers that have more height to improve the look of the planters. And this is what they look like right now, and I just wanted to get your consensus on whether, you know, I should allow that change.
So this is Marvin Garden.
Right in front of
Publix.
Right.
Okay. So what do they want to put in there?
They said they wanted to put flowering perennial that
But
would
they
have
didn't
more
tell
height.
us
They
what?
didn't tell us what.
No. I mean, I'd like to know what they're going to put in there before we say, okay, yeah, that looks
Okay,
great.
sorry to be ignorant, but where is this?
This is in
front of
front of Publix.
Oh.
That's
we have
Publix
some
right
say
there.
in that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, it's
Yeah, I'd
because
like
it's
to know what they're talking about.
Okay.
Because, you know, I would prefer it was something native-ish than not. Than some hideous shrub that is just, you know.
Well, these are
ugly.
perennial flowers, right?
right.
Well,
Or do they want annuals?
They want
They
annuals.
want, no, they want
They have
perennials.
annuals.
They have annuals.
Oh, sorry.
And they
Yeah,
want
they want
perennials.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah,
That's an issue.
I think that does make sense, and you know, it seems
Theoretically.
obvious.
Why is there a problem?
Well,
I would
it's up to
suggest-
them. I think annuals are much more.
I would suggest a Rudbeckia, and they will never have to worry with them again except to cut them back this time of year.
How do you spell that?
Rudbeckia, Rudbeckia.
Well, it doesn't-
A perennial Rudbeckia.
it doesn't-
Yeah, I want to mess that up.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
like that Susan's. I'm sorry, guys. Like
I
that
would have lost the
Susan's.
spelling
You're
bee.
right. You can spell that one.
I could probably spell that.
No, they're really tough. They're natives. They're great pollinators. They bloom for a really long time. It would be great there.
It does almost seem like what is there now with
It's
the
pitiful.
way you don't even really see
No,
them from a
I
height
don't even know
perspective.
what those are, but it's poor.
Pansies.
Well, that's if those are pansies, it's because it's just cold and wet.
It
And
was
they
just
all
too
look
early.
like
Yeah.
Well, pansies,
Yeah, because that was chicken
pansies
and
burn out in the
Christmas
sun.
time.
Yeah.
that. They also need to add some soil to that pot.
And make it higher.
Well, they need a landscape.
Yeah, that looks crappy.
This isn't-
I'm glad to come out there and direct them.
They need to fix that board too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that
They
board
need-
is buggy.
They just need to get a landscape.
And all its various little screws. But whatever.
Yeah, we need to know what before they.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, that space looks really nice.
Because
actually.
height's got a big
Yeah.
issue. That's full sun,
Oh, yeah.
so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Rebecca. You're good, and everybody's gonna be happy.
I bet it's not irrigated.
No.
They don't care about that much either.
No.
Yes.
Once they're established, they're just super tough. They're almost as tough as lantana,
Oh, okay.
except they're natives.
Just a quick question, is a general recommendation to folks, almost every time we would recommend perennials as opposed to annuals, right?
It's a lot less work. The problem is a lot of perennials are going to bloom either early spring or early summer. You know, they've got like a smaller window. Where annuals, once they get going, if they're not pansies, but if they were, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, they would just last longer because that's their job. They're going to last for the season and then they're going to go away.
They're gonna be pretty.
Are they talking about this bed down below as well, that's like ground level?
I think they're the
This is like, that was like
same.
muley grass anyway.
No, she's talking here.
Oh, no, they're not talking about that.
Okay, that looks like muley grass, which is perfect.
Okay.
We have those in our roundabouts.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
This isn't on the agenda. I can't ask.
Okay.
They come
So
up with some other, ideas if they want them.
Don't go
But that's the one off the top of my head.
No, just say good, Blackout Susans are perfect.
I'll recommend that and talk to them and see if I can bring this next meeting about some of the answers to your questions.
So
If they want a
third till next
particular
meeting?
time, I can
Yes.
research which would be the best time. I've got a particular one here that I just don't know where I got it, but it is tough as nails.
Okay. All right, I'll bring it back next month and we can have another discussion about it. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, next item on the agenda is discussion of consideration of adopting an ongoing action item list.
Okay, so this is, okay, so council has this and staff hates it because, you know, they have to keep it up. But it's really helpful for council. So their action item list per meeting, you know, we're always like, well, we have all these great ideas and we talk about them and then sometimes we just kind of lose it, you know, in, you know, just everyday stuff and it just gets put to the wayside, right? So council has an ongoing action item list that we go over every meeting. So it's like, okay, so put this on there. So we're gonna follow back up on the Marvin Eford Park sign. Where are we with that? We're gonna follow up with Publix and the flowers. And so there are things that I know that we have talked about in this board meeting and we've forgotten about them. And one is coming up that I've added to it. But I think having this ongoing action item list will help keep us on task and it will help us remember, okay, yeah, we're working on that project. Where are we with that? If staff was supposed to do something, if we were supposed to do something, and then we can find out where we are in the process. And then as we finish them, we can check them off and move them off that list.
I have a caveat. I love the idea.
Yeah.
But I think we need due dates. If you don't have due dates to work toward a goal,
Yeah, and we have that. It'll have those in there.
Okay.
It'll have that in there.
because
It'll
just like
have-
with the
yeah.
signs, you know, we didn't really assign a due date. Just like with Amy,
Yep.
in terms of Christine and I meeting with
Yep.
her, we really don't have a due date.
Right.
And there, you know, we'd like to report back to PRG, hopefully by the next meeting on, you know, progress.
At least progress.
Yes,
right?
and so there's a spot for when, you know, update at the next
okay.
at the next meeting.
Okay,
So
yeah.
It's a rolling
it's
list.
a rolling list.
We'll make the decision of
Yep.
what's on or
Yep.
off that list. We do it for work with our customers. We
Yep.
call it a commitment and action document.
There you go.
know, and it keeps you on task to know this is kind of the like you said, the thing that you just want to make sure don't get fallen by the wayside.
You got
So,
it.
Yeah,
You
no,
got it. And so
I agree with that.
I had talked to Austin about it, and he said just bring it up and let them decide if they want it. Me personally, it is very, very helpful for me at our council meetings because we talk about so many different things, and I'm like, wait a minute, where are we with the roundabout lighting or whatever it is? That I'm like, okay, let's
Yeah.
get an update on that. And so if you guys like the idea, I think it would be super helpful because as I said in the meeting a couple meetings ago, I love all these great ideas, but let's start getting stuff ticked off our list and check we've done that and we're making progress on things.
Now, where do you normally
At
put
the
the
end.
review of that at the
It's
agenda?
it's just in the action items at the
So
end.
we do, when we
Okay.
do review of action items, it'll be and ongoing action item list, so it'll be then. So then as we're going through your action item list, say, Austin, let's add that to the ongoing list. You know, Rohit's supposed to follow up with Marvin Creek on the connectivity to the sidewalk.
Basically, everything I read off at the end just automatically just put on the list.
Yep, and
Okay.
then as we get updates and check them off, and we can say completed, and it's
Yeah.
very satisfying to mark
Yeah.
stuff off that list.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So if you guys like it, I would encourage that.
Dan, Christina, any thoughts on that?
I think it's great.
Let's get trail flooding on there.
Yes, flooding. Oh, it's on our list, I'm sure.
Hey, by the way,
Like me, we'll add some things that we've already done so we can check them off.
Yes.
That's me. I do that all the
Yes.
time.
Yes, Christina.
okay, and so also, if somebody can figure out how to grade this ditch to fix the problem in the future, I will personally come out and pump out the water with a trash pump. It's flooding the trail right now. I'll do that. With the weekend after that is fixed, I'll do it myself.
Love it. Perfect. Okay. That was it.
All right, as a board, I think, well, after this meeting, Austin, just start putting together the list of
You're welcome.
action items from
Thanks,
today. And we always track it just in an Excel spreadsheet.
Yep.
It makes it really easy.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly what we do.
Okay, next item is number 6, which is discussion of community cleanup event. And I know we kind of spoke about that a little bit before, but who's requested that come?
It was a resident got in contact with Christina a couple weeks ago. Do you want to bring this? Want to have something scheduled formally?
Okay.
I really don't know much about it personally.
Christina?
I think
Yeah,
I might have
okay.
remembered
Do you have
it.
her contact information?
Who's?
Yeah,
The lady that came forward and asked.
Christina. Well,
yeah,
she's the
there
one to
was,
talk
there was
to.
an email.
I was not.
Talking
Someone.
about cleaning up the road in the area?
Yeah.
Yes.
The reason I'm asking the question is a lady posted on Nextdoor.
It could be the same lady.
I'm sorry?
It could be the same lady. Very well could have.
But a lady posted on Nextdoor about cleaning up the roads. The North Carolina Wildlife, the North Carolina Wildlife Federation has a program called Trees for Trash. And it might be something, if we meet with this lady, that we can tie the two together. And you get X number of trees to plant, and we could plant them in schools and so on and so forth, for X amount of pounds of trash we pick up.
No way.
So, yeah, so we could maybe marry the two together. So if we could get her contact information, that might be good.
Christina's coming out to.
Yeah, and one thing that we actually did when we first started the board here many years ago, we used to do a community cleanup day, and we utilized the neighborhood HOA list, and we would publicize it, and it was just a specific day and time that each of the individual neighborhoods would go out and do whatever road that they're on, and it was pretty successful. There's the state DOT, they would actually provide the orange garbage bags, and you would just leave them on the side of the road. You notify them afterward, and they come and they pick them up. So essentially, all you do is you have the group of your neighbors meeting at the front entrance. They, for the most part, their subdivisions are generally clean, but they go out on the main roads, and we kind of map that out for them of which neighborhood is responsible for what. And they fill up these. We drop those orange garbage bags. They fill them up, tie them off, and then you call somebody at the state, and they come pick them up.
Okay. Christina.
I believe that's
that's
still the
right.
program, right? Yeah.
I thought I had emailed you. I was like, I emailed Bob, but it was
me,
John
yeah.
emailed. So y'all got in touch with each other, you and Sam?
No, I didn't. This is just coming back to me now.
So
But I remember seeing an email about it and talking about discussing it at the meeting.
So there was a lady who came to us, and she's not in Marvin. She's around, in the annexation area, and she wanted to kind of help the community and start this community cleanup day. So I put her in contact with you. Y'all were supposed to talk, and what he just said was all accurate. I had even mentioned we could coordinate getting the bags from DOT. She even volunteered to go get them herself. But we could also do this. Could also jumpstart like an Adopt a Village Street campaign if we wanted to go that route. We could only do obviously our roads that are in the village, but DOT could do Adopt a Street for DOT. That's another angle to it.
And some of them already have Adopt a Highway signs that are out there.
Our list.
We have it on the agenda.
I think having a cleanup day is a great idea, because I know, and I like the idea of the HOAs, because then you kind of spread out throughout the community. I know that when Jason was in 5th grade in elementary school, him and some of his friends they got the vest and they gloves and trash bags, because it was so bad coming up Marvin School Road and then around like the backside. So they did a couple of cleanup days. So I think it's really a great way to get all of the community involved, including the kids, and like you could have some like go over to the school and clean up around the school. And I like this idea. I think it's an easy thing to, you know, kind of set up. And I think, you know, especially if it's not like, oh, I gotta go all around. I think if you get like the HOAs, you know, you kind of like, you know, you've got Innisbrook and Firethorn and the Preserve, and you can basically get all up and down, you know, Marvin Road.
Yeah.
And it's not as daunting of a task as if you just kind of like, yeah, go clean up.
Yeah, doing it by the HOAs and subdivisions, it kind of naturally divvies it up,
Yeah.
you know?
Makes it easier to coordinate.
And most of them aren't gonna say, no, we don't want
No, we're not
to
gonna clean up. No, we're gonna leave
you know?
trash out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe get up with this lady.
I will reach out to her.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an action item I'll take, and I'll discuss how we kind of did it in the past.
Perfect.
And, you know, the ability to get those bags and stuff from DOT. And maybe draft a communication that we can decide to send out to the neighborhood HOA lists.
I like it.
Just so you know, I know there's been some changes in DOT probably since the last time that
Yeah.
you guys did this, and they do have some liability restrictions where you have to wear vests and
Yeah.
age restrictions and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So just
they
keep
do,
that
they
in
do
mind.
have age restrictions, yeah.
What are they?
There is a group I saw on next door, and I don't remember anything other than that they are a group of people who get out and clean up trash. They named themselves and all this, and you can join in. They publish dates, so maybe something if I can find them again, or if you guys see them,
Yeah.
that we hook up with them too.
I think
It's just
there's.
a handful of people.
I've seen 2 posts on Nextdoor. This lady for sure, because she actually specifically said, "I'm trying to get a Marvin cleanup day," and then I think there's maybe a group of like older, like teenage type
Yeah,
age
yeah.
kids that have a group. So I think there's 2 groups. So I think if we can like kind of mesh that stuff together, I mean, I think you're going to get a lot more area covered.
Of course.
And I had
And
mentioned,
if we could talk to our friends in South Carolina on down Newtown Road.
Yeah.
Boy, we were busy forever.
Yep.
I had mentioned to John or Sandra one that I don't think the village would mind getting signs or vests or anything that's needed, so y'all just let us know what's needed and we can make that push.
I have a whole big box of vests
Okay.
Yeah,
that I'm happy to
all right.
keep a handful for me. And
Yeah, so I'll reach out to the lady and we'll start working toward, you know, a spring cleanup date.
Perfect.
You know, and
Perfect.
like I said, between the lady and I, we can draft a communication. I'll
That's great.
communicate to Christine, and we'll send it out to HOA folks.
Good.
You can just get it to me, I can circulate it. So.
Okay.
Put it in my cycle of communications.
All right, next item, any further discussion? All right. Next item is the park sign competition naming.
Okay, so this is Megan. So I know that we're doing, you know, we've got the pocket park at Marvin Gardens. We've got, you know, the possible donation bins that we're talking about at the park that we're gonna need signs for. So one, we're gonna need to name the Marvin Gardens Pocket Park, and I don't know that we wanna name it that. So, I mean, maybe we do, I don't know, I'm saying we're gonna have to name it. So my thought is maybe go to the elementary schools and have like a naming drawing, like design, like competition contest, that if you go to the art teachers, come up with a name for our park, you have, you know, butterflies or whatever you want to draw, and submit them to the village as like a naming competition. And then that way you're going to get the schools involved. You can again promote, you know, the pocket park there. So that was one idea. The other one is like if we're having like some sort of possible donation, like and this isn't like a naming competition, but this is like something like, if you love our park as much as we do, you know, donate whatever. Like I was thinking like we could do some sort of sign like that at the park, and we could even put it at the pocket park. We could, you know, wherever we have, you know, gathering spots and you know, have the you know, the little UPC code or whatever, the QR code, whatever it is, that you can scan, or however we decide to do that. And these are notes that I've had for like a long time that I just kept forgetting to bring in, so I know it's kind of all over the place, but when we figure out what we're doing donation wise for the park, I think that, you know, something like that would be kind of a fun, you know, and we could even put that out there, hey, design a sign, you know, or maybe we use a couple of designs from the elementary school. So that's that idea. If anybody likes it or not.
Well, we'll have to come up with a name somehow, so
Yeah.
certainly involving the local schools, it'll, number one, draw some attention to it.
Yep.
Where are we with the development of it though? Because it's kind of the
Still
cart
in,
before
it's
the
still in
horse.
legal. I didn't know that it would take this long, but
Okay.
basically it's still in their legal side.
But we,
They're meaning
The
publics?
Publix.
Okay.
but Derek is getting quotes on, correct? That's where we left it at the meeting.
Last
Was it
time,
that
right.
Derek is supposed to be getting quotes on what it's gonna cost to
Like
kind of
those scraggly trees we were talking about.
clear it
that
out
they're-
and kind of get it prepped. So,
Yeah,
right.
so council's moving, I mean, we're moving forward with it, and we put Derek to, you know, we tasked him to find out how much it would cost to, I guess, prep the area.
Well, and I can sort of look at, just thinking about it when we have these meetings, if we're able to move forward quickly, then we can get more done, obviously, this year, but there's a point where I'm not gonna say, let's go plant a bunch of stuff in June.
Yeah.
It's just too late.
No, I'm,
So but there's another way of looking at that, and we can still get some of the stuff done, like adding bird feeders and bird baths and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then in the fall, we would plant perennials. So it works either way, you know, gardening's always ready.
well, and that's what I was thinking, Christina, was we kind of get the area prepped now. And like you said, we can add the bird feeders and the bird baths and things like that, really,
Yep.
throughout the summer. And then in the fall, we can plant stuff.
And
Yeah.
did we mention this, like bird feeders, that kind of sounds like an Eagle Scout project if
I
people
like
are
that
looking
idea.
for it, you know?
Yeah.
So that might be an idea. I know Derek kind of normally coordinates that, but one thing to note is that if we do have somebody looking for an Eagle Scout project.
Bird feeders and what else for Eagle Scouts?
Girl Scouts do similar
Bird baths.
projects
Bird
too, right?
Just to,
So Girl Scouts do something kind of like this?
I don't know. I've never heard of a Girl Scout group coming or
Never
somebody
heard of
trying to get a whatever
I
Girl
have a-
Scouts get.
I have a contact. Let me ask her about that. She knows a lot more about it than I do.
Sure,
because
but
I just-
Derek,
you know, I
but
know.
Derek should be the point on this thing.
But I know they do
Yeah.
some gardening type things because I was involved with one who was getting native plants together to start a garden at a church. So, because you know, we always default to the Eagle Scouts, and there is a limited number of those guys, right?
Yeah, yeah, there is.
But for benches, I know they like to build benches and signs and things like that. So we could use lots of benches out there and, you know, structures to hang bird feeders off of or to put bird baths on, or, you know, there's all
I
kinds
wonder
of
how
things.
many
that
people
we
we're
can
gonna see
do.
out there.
I like the naming idea to get the kids involved. I don't know when the timing of that would be best, if we can do that, or who would take that on, if one of the teachers would want to take it on at the schools, or how that would work, but I can see that being a really good thing to engage with the kids, as well as, you know, you can put the winning answer up there, but it's free to put those. I think it's almost free to put the applicant, the ones that apply or submit something online and just post them, and everybody's would have theirs up online. They would think that was
Yeah.
kids to get something on the internet. I have a couple of those folks in our house, and them
Yeah, we
getting
can
something
make
on the
a
internet
wall.
would be like the biggest day of their life, I think.
Yeah.
You
And
make a wall of all the artwork or something. That would
Yeah.
be an awesome thing on the site.
I love that idea. And Dan, I think probably the easiest thing to do is go to the art teachers at the elementary schools. You've got one teacher, you've got, you know, three teachers total, and then you go to them and say, listen, this is something that, you know, is for the community, you know, would you be willing to help us out?
Maybe even ask the art teacher at each of those elementary schools to have their own contest.
Yep.
And then
We picked for the top.
You put it out to the community in a poll or something amongst the top 3.
Yeah.
One from each of those schools.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
again, we don't have to name it before we like develop it. Like we can work on it through, we can kind of work this process through the summer and talk to these teachers, over the summer and then, kind of start it, maybe first project out of the gate in the, in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, call it the Marvin Pocket Park until we come up with a better name. I mean,
Right.
it's not
Right.
terrible. One thing that we do this with the Union County Heritage Festival. We used to have, or I guess we still do, have an art contest, and it's throughout all of Union County, and it is really, really difficult to get the art teachers to get this thing moving, and we've always struggled with it. It's more particularly about recycled art, so that might be the problem. And maybe if we've got an in within elementary schools and art teachers there, maybe, and it's more focused, like we were talking, maybe that would help. But I would sort of like to see all of the artwork. Like everybody's going to do something. And to Dan's point, that gives us like a wall of art that we could do something with. I don't know, that could just be really cool. Like lots of artwork together, almost maybe makes its own art.
Like a collage.
Yeah.
I like it.
It was just, and that might get more attention that everybody's gonna do a little project, right? And
Yeah,
who
and
knows what it is.
it may not be the winning design for the pocket park, but it will go up on a wall in Village Hall or at the barn.
I was gonna say, we get all these submissions of the artwork. We have a Saturday that they're all gonna be displayed on the walls of the barn.
Yep.
And that'll draw
Absolutely.
people to come see their kids and the other kids and
I like it.
walk around.
I-
something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And really, I could see almost taking some of the individual art and making little signs that would go throughout any park, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it'd just be really colorful and cute and, whatever. This is a lot of content, not to use it all up.
Yep.
I've seen stuff like this in a few places. At least two places I've seen this. They've had painted tiles that kids did. It was in like a garden and a wall. I think I've seen it at the North Carolina Zoo.
Yeah.
I have it at my high school.
I know that the elementary school did painted rocks and did a rock garden. I mean, there's a lot of different ideas, and I think we can, reach out to the art teachers and see what their ideas are, because
Exactly.
I'm not an artist, I'm not an art teacher, I am not creative at all, so I would like to get their suggestions. I don't mind getting in touch with the art teacher at the elementary school, or at Marvin Elementary, because I know her, so I'll reach out to her.
Okay.
And she may
Even
not
if
be
this was for next year, even if we incorporated this into next year's, like next fall, like you said, I don't think we're on a tight timeline here.
Right.
We don't have to do anything immediately.
Right.
So they could have more flexibility in time if they
Yep.
want to do something.
Yep,
And now that we have our new list, we won't forget it between now and then.
that's what I'm talking about, there we go.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on to number 8 is the Adopt a Road update.
Okay, this is me too. So we, a long time ago, or not a long time ago, but we had started talking about this in Park Trek and Greenway, that we had, there were roads in Marvin that have adopted, by whoever. And these people have had these roads for forever. So I don't know if it was you that was gonna contact the Adopt a Road people and see how long they have them for, or if it was Derek. I can't remember
I did
who was.
that.
What did you find out? Because I don't remember that answer. Do you?
Oh, I have my notes on my desk, but roughly, some of these people, what they do is they make them follow up with DOT about having a regular cycle of update of cleaning the road. I think it's like once a year at least that they have to do it to keep their name on, and then they, if they don't, then they get taken off.
But how do they know if they're doing it or they're not doing it? Because I feel like some of these roads,
Probably
I've
because
never
they
I've
seen
never
them.
seen one removed.
Probably because they have to contact them to get the bags.
Right.
But so then they fill up a couple bags with their household trash and leave them on the side of the road. Like honestly, like some of these roads do not look like they have ever been cleaned up.
Mhm.
And I would love to free up some of these roads, seriously, to, you know, that we can, you know, the village can adopt it and we can have like, these are, you know, but I actually do like Christina's idea about doing, but those are all neighborhood roads. Like the roads that Marvin owns are all neighborhood roads. So I kind of feel like, you know, you're not gonna have that much trash. If you got trash in your front yard in your neighborhood, you're gonna.
Let me go check if I have that. No.
But I feel like this would, because I did not remember that answer, and I would like to be able. This kind of all goes hand in hand with the cleanup day and the, you know, that kind of thing. Was to try to follow up on that because I did not remember that, and that's one reason that action item list is, I think, going to be very helpful because.
Yeah, I remember you asking that, and I do remember Rohit actually coming back and giving us some of the answers on it.
Okay.
But again, I don't know where we were going with it from there, other than I think that's when we had some communication about doing a wider neighborhood.
Right, and then it
village.
stopped, and now it's here again, which again is why I think that
Yeah.
ongoing list would be a good idea.
Right. Okay. So
Oh my God, you're so many notes.
I know, but I found them right.
Those would have been lost in my
Okay.
office.
So this, obviously I got this sometime this time last year, so it may not be updated, but I got Dan McKenna has adopted Marvin Road in December 2019 was the last pickup, and Terry Patton had adopted Marvin School, Joe Carr Road, and Newtown Road, and her last pickup was 2017.
This
Those
is what I'm
signs are
saying.
still up. I've seen
I
it
know they are.
Right.
So if they haven't picked up, so how do we? What's the process now?
I guess I would contact them and say, what is your process of having someone, you know, removed from
Perfect.
adoption?
So let's.
And
This
have
is
that
where we
person's
got.
contact,
I
right.
remember this now.
Yeah.
This is where we got, and then it stopped. So let's follow
Right.
up and find out what we need to do to, because if they haven't cleaned up in that long, I mean you're getting free advertising for not cleaning up the roads that you said you're going to clean up.
Yeah.
Can we ask the people who are supposed to adopt the road, their names on the side? Dan McKenna is the name I recognize because I just got something from him. He's a realtor, right?
Yep.
Can we ask him first that, hey, you gonna clean that road up?
No, because then you're going to give him a heads up that we're trying to take his name off of it, and he's getting
Okay.
free advertising for it. So, and he's not doing anything for it. So then he's going to go out and clean it up once, and then have it for the next 5 years without doing anything.
Okay, makes sense.
I say no. Because those 3-4 roads, whatever it is, those are main thoroughfares through Marvin that haven't adopted highway sign or road sign, whatever it is, and they're not being serviced.
So if we find out that there's a process, if they haven't been doing it for a while and there's a process to remove them, we should start that process, but also notify them that, hey, please clean up your road.
Yeah, but then I'm afraid they're gonna clean up their road and then we won't be able to take over.
Oh, no, once we understand what the process is.
Oh, yeah.
If they didn't do it for a long time.
Yeah,
We
Yeah,
can
we
still
go
get
them every
it
6 months.
right.
Yeah.
Because I know that people have been cleaning up Marvin School Road and Joe Carr Road that aren't, I mean, my kid's done it, I've done it.
Yeah.
So they get free, they just, I do not like them getting the free advertising.
See, that's what I'm talking about, Dan. That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Well, so once we figure out the process, and maybe I'm just reiterating here, we figure out the process, then that goes on our action item list that, let's say Dan McKenna keeps his sign, then we're gonna talk to him every quarter,
Yeah,
at least.
yeah.
Just a little reminder.
I'll make a little sign for Dan McKenna is not cleaning this road, and
There
I'll
we
put
go.
that right next to the other stuff.
Attach it to
Just
the,
don't put it in the
sign.
DOT right away.
Okay, I'll put it outside the,
Or,
And you must
The
have the
road
homeowner's
boards.
position.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. I like it. Okay. That was it. I was like, I know we got to a certain point and then
Right.
it just,
Yeah.
And last year we had got to the point where we were organizing. I was in contact with the
and then
DOT
COVID
person.
hit, yeah.
Yeah, but then COVID hit and we, you know, at a
Yeah.
staff level canceled all
Yeah.
in-person
No, this is
events.
good.
But at this point, I think, you know, it'd be safe to resume this because it's outside and
Mhm.
we can socially distance. We know how to not transmit it.
All right, the next item is Austin, review of the action items.
Okay, so Derek will move forward with the new park signs. Rohit will bring the change of flowers at Marvin Gardens back at the next meeting. I will create an ongoing action item list. Chairman Barisic will reach out to the resident proposing the community cleanup day. I will publish communications about the cleanup day once it has been scheduled. Board members will submit their SEI and COE forms to me soon. Don't make me chase you down.
Now.
Vice Chair Culp will check with the Girl Scouts about projects for the Pocket Park. Derek will check with the Eagle Scouts, and Rohit will follow up with NCDOT about people not cleaning their adopted roads.
And I'm gonna.
Am I supposed to also find out about sign designs
Yep.
for the park?
Yep.
One other thing, is this the time of year that board retirements and stuff occur, or people have to be renewed?
It depends.
I remember it being in the March, April timeframe, so just, do we have to institute a process where anybody's term is coming up or something like
the
that?
Planning Board and Board of Adjustments, theirs is in March. The PRG's is in September.
Okay.
And once we get a little closer, I'll follow up with you guys because there's, I think, one or two of you will need to be reappointed. But I'll follow up with you.
I forgot if it was March, April. I just.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna reach out to the Marvin Elementary art teacher to see.
So the two things I just added were elementary art teachers, and Christina's going to check on signs for the park. Was there anything? Sign design for the park. Was there anything else?
I'm sure there was.
Question, is the art teacher reach out, is that for naming as well as the art contest?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
I guess it kind of goes together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If I get designs for the park sign, can I just send those to, if I get those before the next meeting, can I just go ahead and forward them to you all?
Yes, please.
And make sure you include Derek.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And I'd say outside of raised lettering, keep it very similar in look and style to the one that's there already.
Yep. Just get rid of the half moon at the top.
Yeah, simplify the shape and.
Yep. Yeah. And add the.
So I think it should be quick, if I can get the, motivation moving.
All right, board member comments. Christina, anything?
Oh wait, I have one more action item list. I'm sorry. Dan, you and Andy are gonna work together on the flooding.
Oh yeah.
I sent him an email, and I'll make sure I get in touch with him in the next
Perfect.
2 days.
Yeah, and he actually sent me a text, so I'm gonna call him when we're done with this meeting. So I'll just make sure he gets up with you.
Oh, perfect. Sounds good.
Okay.
Dan, board member comments?
No, I would like to say that I joined the board in September, or no, August maybe, and I've just been impressed with the folks on the board and the participation of the community, and how much stuff is getting done in a very short amount of time. So I appreciate everybody.
I agree with that statement.
Is that your comment?
Yeah.
All right. I don't have any.
I'm good.
All right. Well, at this point, do I hear a motion on the table to adjourn the Village of Marvin Parks, Recreation, and Greenway Board meeting here at 11:22 on March 2nd?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Yay.
All right. Thank you.
Great meeting, everybody.